to Bay Area Sports Report, and today we are going to be discussing what has happened every single year. Every year, where there is just they just where you just do the same thing every single year, which is the definition of insanity. Doing everything every single year. So we're gonna be discussing on that. So let's get right into it. As for the first thing is that the 49ers are in mid-season 4 as the 49ers have so many injuries. Ricky Pearsall, knee swelling. Jordan James, broken ribs. Malik Mustafa, hamstring. Christian Kirk, calf. Grayson Halton, knee. Andrew Farmer, back. Vidarian Lowe, ankle. And Kyle Shanahan, who's our head coach, can't even stay out of the stinking hell. But this is why I'm so sick of this, because every year there is always injuries every single year. And I get it, it's training camp and they could get all better. I feel like Mal Mustafa will be better. I feel like Halton should be fine. Kyle Shanahan looks like he's gonna be fine too. But Jordan James, Ricky Pearsall, and Christian Kirk and Vidarian Lowe, I'm hearing that they're gonna be out like multiple weeks, which is not a good thing because you need Ricky Pearsall, who's your second best receiver, to be very good. But training camp for day 3, Romello Height is now back with the 49ers. As you can see, he is back with the 49ers now wearing number 58, which is interesting because he wore 94 earlier, which is good, which is a very good sign that he is back now, which is a very, very good sign, especially. So it is great to see him back for this team, especially on needing a lot of edge rushing help. It is super important to have him back on this team. In other news here, Dejon Stribling is on fire as it is goes through here. Final thoughts after day 3 of training camp. Dejon Stribling is the real deal. Insane catch radius, great speed, great hands. Stribling came up with the catch of the day as he climbed up the ladder and went sky high to snag a pass from Brock Purdy. An impressive play. And I love this now that Dejon Stribling is now stepping up. I think it is very good that he is gonna be there. That he's going to be there for this team because he is now on the rise. He has been stepping up since Christian Kirk has been injured. Now, I won't be surprised if they cut Christian Kirk, like I said last time, because it's not going to be surprising because he's a veteran. He's been injury prone. And, I think it's very good that he has been stepping up for the 49ers. A lot of people are saying, like, this was like a downgrade. And once I said on my thing, I was mad at this at first, but that, like, for just 2 seconds. And I'm like, okay, I don't hate this because I already knew he was going to be a great player. I ranked him number 15th in my draft board for the 49ers. I mean, there were a lot of good receivers in my view. Like Denzel Boston was one, which I didn't expect him to be there at that pick. I thought he was going to be picked up already, but I think Dejon Stribling, he's been so good, and I think if he can keep this up, and hopefully he can replace Ricky Pearsall's production. I think they don't trust him. I think a lot of people don't trust him now. They signed a lot of people like Kirk and Mike Evans. Drafted Dejon Stribling, Demarcus Robinson they kept. Jordan Watkins and Cowing, they look like they're doing good so far, according to what the day 3 of training camp of what a lot of analysis are saying, which is good that I want to see that. The question is, can they contribute that on what they're doing in training camp to pads when these training camps or to the game where we have to face the Rams possibly, which is could be a tough challenge so we'll have to. I hope that they can just keep this up, and hopefully they can transition that to like preseason games and to training camp when they have the pads on, and when they're doing that in the regular season. Hopefully they can do that. And Demarcus Robinson, who's also stepping up, I really like that. I think he did very well against that Eagles game. I think if he could go back to being that Rams player back then, where he was having 600 yards and like 7 or 8 touchdowns and like that red zone threat and being that third down guy, I think that'll be very good. I think Mike Evans, Stribling, and Demarcus Robinson. That's a good, okay receiver core of three. It is a bit, the depth is kind of a bit bad, but to be truthful, I don't hate this, and that's where it brings. But as you should know, the 49ers substation. I don't know, man. Like I don't believe it's the electrical substation. I feel like this is ridiculous because it's kind of a ridiculous thing. I feel like people are just doing it to. And I was actually thinking about this, but once I thought about it and processed it a lot when it was first rumored, I felt like people are just making up excuses in my view on it. I feel like the real problem is this guy. As you may be wondering who the world is this guy, his name is Dustin Little. He's the head of sports medicine and head athletic trainer. And he's supposed to be in charge of, keeping an eye on people's injuries, teaching them to stretch, what to do on these injuries. And this is my message for you, Dustin Little. I don't know if you watch watch videos and stuff on YouTube. I don't know if you do that, but if you can hear me on this, you are doing a terrible job. You are doing a terrible job. You should not be deserved to be here. Because look, I respect you as a trainer, and I think there's something special about you, and I think you're doing okay, but you need to do a better job because we can't have all of these injuries. How in the world do you have all of these injuries minus in Kyle Shanahan? Because I think that's just an accident, and I feel like that's kind of a coincidence. But how in the world can you have this many injuries and you're the supposed to be the head athletic trainer for this team? This is ridiculous. Like I don't know what your trainers are like. Whatever um athletic trainers or medicine trainers you guys need to do a better job at taking care because you're not doing a good job, okay? And I really don't like what you guys are doing, and I'm just sick of this, guys. Like I'm like, but if you could hear me, you better do a better job at this because if you don't help your like, what's important about this is when you're being an athlete for a sport, you need to be in good shape. You also need to have good injuries. You need to check on every single one of your players. Like, do that. Like, check every single one of your players to see if they are okay. And if you see something wrong with them, then maybe they shouldn't practice. So that way they don't risk more injury problems. Like, that is why you need to do a better job at this. But I'm just sick at this because there's so many injuries on this, and I don't even know how this is possible. The good news is though, like I said, Malcolm Mustafa shouldn't be serious. Grayson Holland, I think he should be fine. Shanahan too, but Farmer, Lowe, Kirk, James, and Pearsall, like that is not they're not looking good right now. So and this is kind of getting pretty bad for the 49ers, and I'm just sick at this, okay? Like this is just bad. For the This is just bad and this is just a horrible way to start, but I mean, you never know. They're not out for the rest of the season, so I think people are a bit overreacting. I think just give them more time and maybe they'll recover it hopefully. But we'll see on that. But the question is, now that Ricky Pearsall is out again and along with Christian Kirk, should they bring back this man right here? Should they bring back Debo Samuel? And I say it might be the only option to at this rate because what else are you gonna do? I feel like this receiver core isn't bad of Dejon, Mike, and Debo. I wouldn't hate that. And then DeMarcus, Cowling, and Watkins as your guys. I would trade Ricky Pearsall. Like I'm sorry, but I'll trade him for like a second round pick because that's what it says on the trade value when I was looking up on what to do with Pearsall. As he's a second round pick right now, so I would just trade Ricky Pearsall. I'm sorry, but and that way you could also use that second round pick to like trade for someone like an edge of Kayvon Thibodeau or Max Crosby or getting Vita Vea. As I saw in this like trade mock of Vita Vea of it being a second round pick for 2027, 2028 fifth, and then Tatum Bethune, which I don't hate that. But the reason why I didn't want like I get it that people want to bring Vita Vea back, and I see a lot of Niners analysis wanting to bring him back, but I just don't see it mostly because there's a lot of like young players as Alfred Collins, C.J. West, Grayson Halton. Well, who knows? Maybe they'll trade West too, and or maybe they'll trade West too because I feel like if you add like this much value, like I said earlier, and then just add Bethune and West on there, then then maybe I won't mind that, and then you have Collins and Halton as your backups possibly. But I don't know. I feel like you should just move on to that. But I would trade Pearsall. I mean, who knows? Maybe Pearsall could come back and then just not start him, and then maybe do like have him in there a little bit, but just like have him play a little and increase his trade value. And then when you're like have a good record and you're in the deadline, then maybe trade Ricky Pearsall because I don't want players. I want players who can play, and so. But but in conclusion, this is just a terrible way for Ricky Pearsall because he was doing so good. Like I mentioned, Ricky Pearsall was doing so good when I mentioned in my first 2 days of like training camp, and now he's just injured again, which is just such a terrible way. But make sure to, but we'll see how this goes. But make sure to follow, like, and subscribe, and comment on what you think of the Niners injuries. But this is just a terrible way to start. And this is Bay Area Sports Report signing off.